Hey everyone, welcome back to the Pajama Crafter Stamps YouTube channel. This is Tara with Mayhem Crafty Cards, and today I'm going to be showing you how I created this one layer card. Now, if you don't want the bulk but still want that dimension, I will be showing you how to make this one layer that still pops off the page. So, the supplies I'm going to be using today are of course, the Bog Frog stamp set with our cute little frog there right in the middle. I am also using the marshmallow coloring paper. Now, this is great for alcohol markers. This is cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. You will also need a pencil, an eraser, a top folding card base. This is A2 size. And then optionally, I like to use the glitter pens just to add a little bit of sparkle to my water and my dragonfly. So, and you can also use masking paper as well. I cut a bunch of images out of my scan and cut, so I already have my little frog cut. So what I like to do is just lay my little frog down. And remember, there is an umbrella with this stamp set. So I got to remember that my umbrella is there. So what I'm going to do is kind of map out where I want my water to start. And this is where your pencil comes in real handy. And I leave a space where my frog is because I know that's where I'm going to stamp him out. So now that I have that set, I can see that this is where he's going to kind of sit on the card base. So I'm going to remove this guy. I'm going to grab my Misty. And I've already put him in my Misty, so he's already ready to go. And then I'm going to... Perfect. Okay. I'm going to lay him out and then stamp. Now, I do stamp a couple times. That's just what I do. So I'm sorry if my camera is shaking a little bit. I'm trying to do it without shaking it too much. And then, like I said, I stamp a couple times. I'm not worried about those pencil marks being in where that water's going to lay because I'm going to start with my grass first. So let's get him stamped out again. Because I have a sticky mat in here, I always stamp twice. So now we can move our Misty to the side. And we have our little frog ready to go. So like I said, I'm not worried about that there. I'm actually going to start my grass like right above there. And how I do my grass is I could die cut it, but I really like being able just to draw my own grass in. So I just grab my lightest green. And like I said, I'm just going to erase this side of my pencil mark because I know where my water is going to go now. Now, if you want to leave it because it will help you in the end. So, and I just do like little flicks with my lightest shade because I'm mapping out where I want my grass to be. And of course, there's grass here already. So, and I'm not worried about getting it on the umbrella because I'm going to be coloring that a darker shade. And I'm just going to color this grass in along here because it's grass. And then I like to bring it a little bit underneath of where his little stump is, just to kind of make a little shoreline so that everything's not so so you can see where the grass ends and the water is going to meet the grass. And then I will go in with my darkest shade and I will start flicking. Now I like to go in different directions. I like to curl it, but it's just like little flicks. And I know it seems scary because it's a darker shade, but it will be totally fine. And then I do like to go just right underneath the little log. And you could be messy with this. You don't have to be precise. As you can see, I'm just flicking away. Like no rhyme or reason. I do like my grass to go kind of in a different direction. And then I will go in with my mid-tone shade to kind of help blend that in so it's not so harsh. And I'm just doing the exact same thing. I'm just flicking up. Now I do slowly start to bring it up a little bit, but I'm going to also go back over it again with my lightest shade. So I'm going to take that mid-tone and just go right across that line again, just because I know that's where that shadow is going to be. So again, the same, just little flicks here and there. And then I'm going to go over one more time with my lightest shade, just to blend everything in. And you probably won't see a whole lot of it on the card, but it just really helps blend all those colors together, so you don't really have any harsh lines. Now, I am no colorist by any means, but this is just, this was an easy way for me to be able to make this one layer card without adding too much bulk to it. So now this is where I come in with my lightest shade to map out where I want my pond to be. And I always leave a little bit of a gap just so I have that extra room. So I'm just going to go ahead and color this all in. And as soon as I'm done coloring with this lightest shade, I will be back to show you guys how I fill in the rest of this pond scene. Okay, now that we have that all colored in, and don't worry about it looking splotchy because it will all blend together once you go back in with that lightest shade. So now I'm going to kind of go in and map out where this top of this little water scene is going to be. And I'm just flicking in this shade just to keep the color palette going. So like I said, no rhyme, no reason, just go in, do your flicks. It will all come together in the end. So it's going to be ugly before it is going to be super pretty. Don't forget to go along the edges. And just kind of fill in those little white spaces. So as you can see, as it dries back, it's not as vibrant as it could be. So now I'm going to go in with a slightly darker shade and just kind of add like little random flicks in, like the water's moving. And you don't have to add this at all. I mean, you can just go ahead with your whole scene and just be done with it. And then I'm going to come back in with my lightest shade and blend everything in together. And this just helps the markers not look so brash against your scene. And then once I add my glitter, that also helps kind of diffuse that color just a little bit. And it doesn't have to be perfect. That's the best part of it. When you're doing a one layer card, like, it does not always have to be perfect. So now that we have our little lake, pond, and our grass done, now we can go ahead and start coloring our little frog. So I'm going to be using almost the same type of greens for this guy. I thought about doing a different color, which you can make your frog any color of the rainbow. I just really like the green. So that's what I'm going to do. And I always start off with my lightest shade. This just helps saturate my paper so that I can get a good blend. Like I said, I am just getting back into using my alcohol markers. I watercolored for a long time, so this has been very helpful just to kind of get back into the swing of using my alcohol markers again. So I'm just going to color this whole guy with this lightest shade so I have my paper saturated. Sometimes I'll go in little circles, sometimes I'll go in little flicks, especially if it's a bigger image. It just kind of depends on how you like the color. So I'm not going to color this cup just yet, but I am going to color the inside. There's a little spot that shows the inside of the mug. So now I'm going to go back in with my darkest shade of my green, and I'm just going to hit where the artist has the lines already. And this just kind of helps adding that dimension on where your shadows and stuff would be. So of course there's a little shadow under his arm. I like to do the inside just a little bit. And of course there's going to be some shadows down here. So like I said, I just follow the stamp set. And of course he's going to have some little shadows around his mouth. And since the umbrella is covering him, he's also going to have some shadows where you wouldn't always put them. And don't worry about going outside the lines. That's what they make a white gel pen for, or the colorless blender, to help push that color back. So, and I'm just going to color in where that teacup part ends, because there's all, he's holding the cup. So I'm also going to darken him just a little bit around the edges here. So if you've not checked out the new release, there's so many good stamp sets that have released. Next, on the 31st, I'm going to be showing you guys the All-American Girl, which she's adorable. So now I'm going to go in with my mid-tone again and just soften those lines, kind of go over where I put that darkest shade. And this is going to help blend the inks together. Now I will leave some little bit of white space just for some highlights. And that kind of helps bring your frog to life. So like I said, I am not a master colorist by any means. This is just what's helped me kind of get back into the swing of my alcohol markers. So if you're trying to learn coloring, Joy or Justine, or there's so many amazing ladies on the design team that color so well, and it just looks effortless. So I'm just going to kind of color in some spots where I don't really necessarily think my highlight is going to be, but I will go back over the whole image again with that latest shade, just so it will help blend all these colors in together. So I left a little highlight on his belly. And like I said, I'm just going to go in with that latest shade again, and we're just going to go over the whole image. Now this kind of helps diffuse that color too, spreads it out a little bit. I know it looks messy right now, but trust me, it will all come together. And I'm not worried about some of these lines because they're going to be covered up anyways. Okay, so once he dries for a bit, he will smooth out. So I'm going to go ahead and grab, I have a few browns I'm going to use for his little log. And again, I just go in my latest color and then just follow. Okay, so now that I have some of my coloring done, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the little willow stamps and I'm going to place them on my card base, kind of just wherever I want them to go. Like, again, there's no rhyme or reason to it. I just kind of put them where I like them. Now, I'm also going to be putting down the lily pads in the areas that I want them as well. So because we will also be coloring these with alcohol markers, I'm going to be using that same alcohol-friendly ink and just stamping these out. Now I will stamp these multiple times just because I want to get that nice crisp image. See, it doesn't even, this is why I use the Misty. So we have them there. Let's do one more pass. And then I'm going to actually move everything around just because I want to add a little bit more of these images on my card. Okay, so now that I have these all stamped out, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to very quickly color these in, and we'll move on to the next step. So as I'm coloring this last little lily pad, you can see, so I've already got my alcohol ink and my markers down, but this does not impact the color of this green whatsoever. So that's why I didn't have any problem stamping over top of something that was already laid down color with. Even with the little willows, you can kind of see, you know, and you can always darken them up a little bit at the bottom, which I'm going to do with a couple of these because where my grass was like super green, we're just going to add just a little bit of darkness there. Just to kind of counteract that green just a little bit. But now I can go in, since I've already got my little lily pads, with my darkest shade again and kind of outline where I want things to be. So I always just start in the middle and just kind of blend out just a little bit because I don't want to lose that lighter color. I think it looks really cool with the water in the background. So I generally just start in the middle and just kind of branch out just a little bit, just to add just a little bit of depth to that. And then I will, of course, go over with my lightest shade, and that just helps move that color around because there's more alcohol in these lighter shades than your mid-tone. And since these images are super easy to color, it's nice and quick. So now we can work on the background. And this is where your little die cut images come in, or your masking paper. So since I already have my little die cut here, I'm just going to lay him down. And I do have the die cut for the umbrella as well. So I'm going to just lay these down, and I'm going to pick up my blue ink pad, and I'm just going to create my sky. It's not going to be anything super fancy. And you can also lay down or stamp out your little dragonfly. So I'm going to end up having a white halo around these because I did not cut these on that black line, which is important if you don't want the halo. Like, you want to go all the way up to that black line if you are trying to mask. So I will show you guys how I fix that halo. See if I can hold this in place. There we go. And I'm just going to haphazardly ink blend around my images because I just wanted a nice blue sky. And you can even go down to where your alcohol markers are. It's not going to hurt anything. Now you can see that halo right there. So what I'm going to do is move my image over, and I'm just going to go right in there. And you'll probably still see it just a little bit, but it's nothing that's going to take away from your background. So I'm going to line this guy back up again and ink blend in between here. So what you could do also is take one of your magnets, since these are just die cut images, and lay your magnet down. And I'm just going to go over those areas and shift it around so I don't catch that halo, because you can see it right here, that bright white. And you do not want that bright white. So because I'm going to be coloring this with a dark ink, I'm not super concerned about coloring in the rest of that umbrella. Sorry, my words escaped me for a second. So now I'm going to bring my magnet back in, and I'm just going to continue to ink blend. And like I said, I'm going to show you how I get rid of that halo. You're just going to bring that die cut down a little bit and go over it. But if you don't want to mess with the halo at all, I suggest cutting along that white line, or cutting along the black line, because that will keep your images from having that halo, which I think, nope, okay. So I still have a little bit right there. I'm not concerned about it. So now we have our background done. I'm going to go ahead and stamp out my little dragonfly, and I'm just going to use an ink block for that because he's really easy to stamp. And I'm only doing one of him, so I'm just going to grab one of my smaller blocks and just stamp him where I want him. And again, I'm using that same alcohol-friendly ink because I'm going to also color him in. So we're just going to stamp him right here. So there he is. Now, I know it looks kind of funny with the blended background, but we're going to color him in with our alcohol markers. And this is just a simple, I used 2 markers. I used a purple for his body and his little tail, and then just the green for his face. And then for the wings, I'm going to use my glitter pen. So he's got glittery little wings. So easy peasy. Let me clean up my workstation and I'll be right back. Okay, so I just went ahead and finished the umbrella so that I can start adding the glitter and show you how I fix some of my mistakes when I do go outside of the lines, which happens to everybody. I will take a white gel pen and I will just kind of touch up, excuse me for my arm, those places where I've kind of, which looks like there's only one, and just kind of just take that and erase it. Now you could also use this for your little cup, which I've done before, and make little polka dots. Now these aren't the best ones, but it gives a little dimension to it. Makes your cup stand out a little bit more so he's not so flush in the background. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my sentiment, and we're pretty much finished at this point. I'm just adding my sentiment, and I'm going to be adding some glitter to this. So I'm going to take the Toadally Chill, because right now he looks totally chill, and I'm going to take my VersaFine ink pad, because this is going to stamp super black, which I really love. And I'm going to take it at an angle and just stamp her down. So now we have our Toadally Chill. I'm going to grab my glitter pens, and I'm going to show you guys kind of where I place them. But other than that, I mean, this was a simple 1-layer card. I mean, you can't get more basic than this. So I just take it, and you notice that I didn't color the wings before because this is a colored sparkle pen. And I'm just going to take this all the way across the bottom of my pond. And the nice thing is it's going to disappear. This is going to disappear into sparkles. So you really won't see that color a whole lot. That's why I'm just kind of going around my images and not really focusing on one specific area. As you can see, it's already started to blend in with that background. And we just need to glue this to our card base. And that's it. Like, this was the simplest 1-layer card I've made in a long time. And it just still pops off the page, and I love it. So make sure that you check out all of the design team's projects this month. There are some really, really fantastic projects that are going up. And check out the new release. All the products that I use will be listed down in the description box below. Some of them are affiliate links, which means that I get a small commission, but it does not affect you guys at all, your price. So it just shows the company that I'm using their products, and it helps me out a little bit. So this is just going to go right on our card base. And that's it. If I could line it up straight. That's why I use liquid glue a lot. Now, I did make my own card bases, so it could be just my card base isn't where it's supposed to be. But yeah, that's my card for today. If you guys have any questions, leave them down in the comment section, and we will make sure that we get them all answered for you guys. So until then, have a great weekend.